Adishchandra. And your mother? Swatantra.
Yes, Guruji, we are live.
Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Sadguru Sri Ramananda Parabrahma Namaha. Om Sadguru Sri Shivananda Parabrahma Namaha. Om Sadguru Sri Krishna Paramatma Namaha. Om Sadguru Sri Shankara Bhavat Padacharya Namaha. Om Sadguru Sri Nityananda Parabrahma Namaha. Om Sadguru Sri Vyadayasa Bhattarkaya Namaha. Atma Namaskaram to one and all who are listening this my speech, and also Dr. Trupti and her parents who are in front of me. You are all my Guru Swarupa. Today, on 26th October 2023, I am delivering lecture on suffering. The interviewer is Dr. Trupti Endocrinologist. She is hailing from Simla. She did her post-graduation at Agra, basic MBBS at Simla, and post-graduation at Agra in 2003. She finished. I am going to introduce her and her parents. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Trupti Endocrinologist. Guruji said that I'm a practitioner. I'm from India, and I've been in Australia practicing since 2009. My father is Siddha Vidya.
Please take her out. You actually give it to your mother. Give it to your mother. Please. Talk a bit louder.
Father Shri Harishchandra Joshi, they also hail from Shimla, and they were retired management consultant for multinational company. My mother, she's Sutanta Joshi, she is a retired bank.
Okay. So, what is your main question? Please put forth. Alagane bettu. Ala pettu. No, say you marchistu. What is your main question?
The question is just related to suffering. Like, why is there suffering? And why, like there is various kinds
Difference.
of suffering, and some people suffer.
Difference in levels of suffering.
Difference in levels of suffering. Why some people suffer and why
some people are happy. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. Okay. All right. Dr. Trupti is asking the reason for suffering. I am again, while telling this also, I am putting some questions to you also. Suffering is by mind or body? First thing. Both. Suppose if your mind goes up and merges here, which is going to suffer? You are saying that both the mind and body are suffering. So when the mind is somewhere say here, if it is merged here, it is concentrated here, the body will be left alone. Who is going to suffer? Which is going to suffer? Body is going to suffer. But actual suffering is only by mind only. The actual suffering is by mind only. But when the mind, by some effort, by doing some sadhana, if it is merged and gets concentrated here, the body cannot suffer, but it will be affected. It will be affected without any suffering. For example, I will tell you, I will pelt a stone against a tamarind fruit, in which the pulp of the fruit gets separated from the skin. If not, when it is ripened, if I pelt a stone, the stone will affect the skin. The skin will be burst, will be broken, but it won't affect the pulp inside the fruit. Is it not? So just like there is a ripened fruit and unripened fruit. So a fresh raw nut, if you pelt a stone, it will affect both the skin and the pulp inside also. Huh? Yes, it will break. But a ripened fruit will be, the fruit inside is separated from the skin, so the skin only will be affected. Is it not? So when the skin is affected, there won't be suffering with the mind. Is it not? Inside the fruit. Inside the fruit is like mind. The skin is body. Is it not? So when it gets separated, there won't be suffering for the mind, though the skin is affected. That is the difference between a person with ripened yogic body and unripened ordinary body. Ordinary body. See, when you do sadhana by pranayama, yogagni, there is a separate method, specially designed technique told by Lord Sri Krishna in Bhagavad-Gita, Upanishads and other things, that is to increase the energy by churning your life force, prana shakti. If you go on churning your life force, the body gets heated up, and that prana shakti will get elevated upwards, and the body will get separated from that. So the life force along with the mind, because first thing there must be, you should know that there is a direct relationship between mind and the life force. Mind and the life force. Life force is traveling in the form of respirations. Along with the mind is also oscillating. If not, so if you want to control the mind to get away from the suffering, you have to control the life force first. So to control the life force, you have to do this internal churning process of pranayama. If you go on doing that, there will be heat generated, spiritual yogagni. That heat will go upwards. Along with that, the mind also will go upwards. When it goes here and gets merged in the center of the eyebrows, anatomically, that is the third ventricle. Initially, the pituitary, hypothalamus, and ultimately, if entire body is cleaned up, the life force will be merged here at the third ventricle. Along with that, the mind also will be merged. When it is merged, if anything, the prarabdha, what you know, prarabdha, any ill effects coming from previous births, if they affect the body, you won't be affected. Is it not? Basically, you got an idea about this prarabdha. Prarabdha means any bad thing, karma, done in previous births, you have to suffer, you have to face the ill effect of that previous karma, and you, in this birth, you will be affected. You will have to face this. But at the time of facing this bad karma, if your mind goes here, only the body will be affected without any suffering. Without any suffering. But if there is no such sadhana, naturally the mind and the body are combined together. Whatever it comes, your mind and body will be affected. Is that? Is not. So suffering for whom then? Suffering for whom? Suffering is totally by mind only. The field of suffering is body, but the sufferer is mind only. Is it not? Prarabdham bhunjamanopi Gitabhyasa ratasada samukta sasukhi loke karmana nopalipyate. There is one Gita slokam in Gita Mahatmya. Did you ever read Bhagavad-Gita or anything? Have you acquainted with spiritual slokas or something about that?
I've got Bhagavad-Gita, but like,
He must have read it. But the main essence of Bhagavad-Gita Upanishads I am telling. Prarabdham bhunjamanopi. Even though you are suffering with the bad effect of previous births, that is called abdam prarabdham. Even though you are suffering, prarabdham bhunjamanopi Gita abhyasa ratasada. Gita is there. Gita means what Lord Sri Krishna told is Gita. Gita means a swaram, the voice of inside voice. That is a pranamam or omkaram. That will come through this pranayamam. Pranayamam. If you do pranayamam and you are suffering with the previous prarabdham, if you do that, you are getting elevated and your mind will be here. So you don't be affected with the mind, only body will be affected. Samukta, he is only liberated, he is only got salvation. Sasukhi loke, he is the most peaceful person in this world. Karmana nopalipyate, even if he does any karma, he will never be affected. This is the main essence of Bhagavad-Gita and the told. So the cause for suffering, the reason for suffering is getting contact with the body. Getting contact with it. That's why a person with body sense will always suffer. A person with body sense will always suffer. Dehatmana samstuti evakami vilakshana kameta kadhamsyat. Shankaracharya in Viveka Chodamani says like this: who has got body sense will be always with the desires and he will have to suffer. It's not. So the main effort you have to do is, first thing, try to get separated from the body. See, for example, I will tell you. During sleep, you will have body, but you will have body sense. Don't have body sense, but you will have body. You will have body. Like that, when you sleep, your mind is though inside, but it is not here. That is somewhere in this spinal cord. During sleep, there is involuntary reflexes done by the spinal cord. You know, it's not. So like that, when the mind is separated from the body, there is no suffering. During wakeful state only, you will be suffering. It's not. During wakeful state only, you will be suffering. You will be suffering with the worldly affairs and other things. During sleep, you will forget everything. But that is only a temporary thing. That is only a momentary thing. No sooner you get up, you again come into the suffering. Is it not? So you should have permanent remedy. Like your mind during sleep, you have to go here, but you will never come down again. That is the reason for suffering. Suffering. Purvajanma Kritam Papam Yadhirupena Piditaha. Did you ever hear that? Purvajanma Kritam Papam. Whatever the sin you did in the previous birth, you will suffer in the form of diseases. Diseases. Here, suffering is another thing. Medically, we can explain. Medically, we can explain. How? See, because you are a doctor, our respirations are going irregularly. Irregularly in the sense, our expiration is more than inspiration, you know? Is it not? So, expiration more means you are expelling more divine energy outside, down and out in every respiratory cycle. In every respiratory cycle. That means when the expiration is more and inspiration is less, the blood circulation will be more towards downwards than upwards. Than upwards. So, like that, the prana shakti, what is the root force for the cause of respiration and other circulation? All systems, you know, systems, there are 5 systems: respiratory system, endocrine system, circulatory system, assimilatory system, excretory system. These are all systems. All these systems are working due to what? Working by life force or prana shakti. That prana shakti is being regularly going down and out through the expiration. Expiration. When it is going out, it is not properly coming upwards to the seat of origin. It is not coming upwards properly. How? See, you know, to expel our blood outside, there is a heart here. There is a heart here. The heart will contract and it will throw the blood outside, periphery. But where is the force that withdraws the blood from periphery? Where is the force? Can you say? Can you say? So I will tell you. See, there is a negative pressure in the lungs. Now you can understand. There is a negative pressure vacuum in the pleural cavity. That alone is responsible for the peripheral venous return. Even though it is there, the blood which is going down and out through the periphery, it is not totally returning back. Returning back. One day or other, the expiration will be more and more. Ultimately, you will have to leave from this body. That is called death, you know. Death is otherwise called expired. Do you know what is meant by expired? Loss of our prana shakti through the last expiration is called expired. Expired. Could you understand the word? What do you say? Yes. So expired. So one has to expire unless he has to curb the upward, downward force going more. He has to take more towards upwards to the point from where it is coming down. For example, I will tell you, if you throw a ball from a terrace onto the ground, it will jump and again fall down, again jump and fall down. Ultimately, it becomes stand still on the ground. Is it not? It will become stand still. Like that, our expiration starts first. What do you say? Expiration starts first or inspiration starts first? Usually, our medical field says inspiration starts first. See, you know pretty well that there is some fluid in the lungs, alveoli. Just starting our respiration, be first. What is that fluid? Surfactant. Surfactant. Surfactant, sphingomyelin fluid. Unless that is emptied first, you cannot take inspiration. Is it not? So how to empty? There must be an impulse coming. There must be an impulse Come here. You will be also seen. Unless there must be an impulse coming from the brain, it won't squeeze out. That is squeezing out first is called expiration. So without first expiration, the alveoli will never be emptied. After emptying only, you will take inspiration. Is it not? So which starts first, the expiration or inspiration? But our medical field says inspiration. That is the Brahma Rahasyam. You know? So first expiration, inspiration. Like that, if you go on expiring more, ultimately there will be only expiration without inspiration. That is called expired. The exact meaning of expired is loss of or prana shakti through the last expiration is called expired. So if you don't do a special effort to take it upwards, one has to die. Is it not? So how to take it upwards more? That is the thing, main thing. Say while you are expiring more, you are losing divine energy, knowledge, happiness, and divine light also. All these things are being lost in every respiratory cycle. You are expiring up to 30 centimeters and inspiring from 20 centimeters only. So like that, you are losing 10 centimeters of extra energy in every respiratory cycle. And like that, 15 times per minute and 900 times per minute, per hour, and 21,600 times per day into 10 centimeters. So that amounts to 2 kilometers, 160 meters per day. In this way, regularly we are losing energy. Without curbing this, how can you be happy? See, the happy thing is our own life force, our prana shakti, that we are losing regularly. Why we are suffering? Your first question is reason for suffering. The reason for suffering is we are losing prana shakti regularly. That prarabdham, previous karma, is affecting your mind and making you to lose more prana shakti outside. So medically, you can understand the reason for suffering is due to loss of energy or prana shakti. And mentally, you will have to suffer because that is affecting your mind. Why? The mind is also in contact with the body. Mind is also in contact with the body. So medically and spiritually, you can counteract the reasoning for the suffering only by taking your life force upwards by doing pranayamam. What is meant by pranayam? Pranayama means prana plus ayam. Prana plus ayam. Ayam means lengthening. Prana means life force. So how to increase it? There is a hindrance. You know, the upward inspiration is less than the downward expiration. This is passive. This is active. You are feeling difficulty to take it upwards, is it not? So what is the root cause for that obstructing? Why you are feeling difficulty to take upwards? There is some obstructing agent. What is that? That is phlegm. That is kapham. That is mucus. Not only mucus, there is some mucoid, mucus-like thing that is there accumulated in every cell of our body. That is the main hindrance to take it upwards more. It is not allowing. So that kapham or phlegm, you know, phlegm, Phlegm. So that is like butter. You have to dissolve it. You have to clean. How to clean it? Butter will be dissolved only by heat. Only by heat. How to get heat inside? Please rub your palms outside. Please rub yours also, Arishchandra. So when you are rubbing, you are getting heat. So like that, you have to get heat inside. Take hold of the respirations, upward and downward, expiration and inspiration. Do churning, do friction inside. Do friction inside, you will get heat. That heat will dissolve. That heat will dissolve the phlegm. Then only the upward inspiration phase will be prolonged. That prolonging of inspiration is called pranayam. That's why Lord Sri Krishna says, Gita Jaina Silasya Pranayama Parasacha Naivisanti Papane Purvajanma Kutanyapi. In Gita, Mahatma says, Gita Jaina Silasya. That means while reading Bhagavad-Gita and Pranayama Parasacha, you have to do pranayam. Pranayam means nowadays, till now, all the people are doing pranayam with the external air. Like this, doing anulom, you know pretty well about these external methods. But this is a specially designed, unique technique designed by Lord Sri Krishna. Nobody is knowing about this. Pranayama person naivisanti papani purvajanma kutanyapi. Whatever the bad things are done by in the previous births, he will never be touched with those sin, because he is going upwards. So one has to do pranayama and get away from this bodily affairs, bodily sufferings. When you go there, why? Because when the life is going, your mind is also going upwards. Mind and your life is totally related. You say concentration of mind. What is concentration of mind? Without catching the life force. See, the mind is like a flame, and the respirations are like air currents. Mind is like a flame. It is always flickering. When it flickers, you will suffer. What is the cause for suffering? Just the flickering of the mind, oscillation of mind. Oscillation of mind itself is suffering. So how to control it? Do you want to control the flame or the air currents? There is flame in the midst of the air. If you want to make the flame still, what do you say? What do you do? Will you stop the flame or air currents? Flame. Your aim is to stop the flame, but can you catch hold of the flame? Because it is oscillating due to air currents. So what will you stop? Air currents. So without stopping air currents, you cannot catch hold of the flame. So like that, our respirations are like air currents, and our mind is like a flame. So if you want to make your mind still and get away from the suffering, you will have to control the respirations. That is the reason behind this, science behind this. All. Yes? Siddha Prajna, yes. So you read Bhagavad-Gita. So when he goes upwards only, he will become Siddha Prajna. Very good word. You got it. Is it not? So the reason for suffering, both mentally and physically, is due to the downward flowing of our prana shakti, going out, down and out. So if you want to control it, go away. Only by means of pranayama. But unfortunately, this pranayama is misunderstood, and these people are thinking that we are taking prana or oxygen from outside and keeping it in the lungs and staying there. Like that, they are calling it as pranayama. This is not pranayama. This is only swasayama. Why? Because you know the oxygen is outside is only an inorganic gas, whereas our prana shakti inside is divine, which has got 4 qualities: divine knowledge, happiness, energy, and light. So all these qualities are divine, with which you are living. You are not living with the external oxygen. But we doctors or anybody thinking that we are living with oxygen and we are putting some tube inside from the after culling it that oxygen into a cylinder. That is only acting very temporarily. Temporarily. How this oxygen is acting? This oxygen has got some heat nature. When you introduce this, put this oxygen inside through a tube that will go to the lungs, it will have 2 effects. That is called bronchodilation and vasodilatation. Due to the dilatation, the life force inside will go up to a certain extent because of heat. It will work to that extent only. But if you yourself get heat inside by churning your life force. Life force automatically will go upwards. So this oxygen works only temporarily. That's only an inorganic gas. It has no knowledge or happiness or anything. That is only a physical thing. But whereas our life force, which is divine, is regularly being lost through our respiration, straight controlled by doing churning inside only, not with the external air. That's why this is called Antarmukha Siddhayogam, told by Lord Sri Krishna. Lord Sri Krishna is otherwise has told Buddhi Yogam. Our Guru Parampara, Swami Ramananda Paramahamsa, and his Guru Swami Shivananda, they call it as Siddhayogam. Siddhayogam, Buddhi Yogam, Pranamam, Omkaram, Antarmukha Pranayama, all these things are one and the same. So, could you understand what is the reason for suffering? How to get rid of this suffering? Any more question? Any more question? Your father, Harishchandra. You are thoroughly convinced because you are reading Bhagavad-Gita. Did you do any sort of sadhana previously?
I do bit, but it's intermittent. I think all of us do, but we do intermittently.
What is that?
So I think there's different things I think I've been following, but I don't know which is the correct path. So like first I got into ISKCON.
See, I have explained basically, medically, scientifically.
So I think first
do you agree or not? You agree?
First I started doing chanting.
Chanting, of course.
So chanting I was doing, but I think it's also intermittent. And then I started doing
scientific. I will explain scientifically. When you are chanting, are you doing with expiration or inspiration? Without expiring, you cannot chant. Is it not? When you are expiring means, are you losing energy or gaining energy? Losing energy. If you chant Om like that in a pronged way, are you increasing energy or losing energy?
Om is inspiration only.
You please utter Om and keep your palm in front of you.
Both is going.
Huh?
Inspiration and expiration is going.
No. Exactly at the time of uttering any chanting or Om or anything, what is happening? Is it happening during expiration or inspiration? Now chant yourself and put it.
But both are happening.
No. Both are happening. Are you losing more inside? More or gaining inside? You keep your palm. What is happening? Put your. Are you getting some heat or not? Expiring. Are you losing energy or gaining energy? So what are all these methods saying? Simply we are wasting energy, divine energy. Whereas there is only one method.
So you are saying don't chant Om. They're saying that Om chanting is beneficial.
Chanting, the inner meaning of chanting is this pranayama only. Without knowing the exact way of knowing about this Om, you are simply chanting outside. Sakrud Ucharita Matra Sayesha Vordham Unnamati Chyonkaraha. There is a definition in Atharva Upanishad. All these people are telling without correlating the scriptural knowledge. There is one great Upanishad, Atharva Upanishad. Sakrud Ucharita Matra Sayesha Vordham Unnamati Chyonkaraha. If you do this internal pranayama, you take it upward, that will go upwards automatically and reach here. That is called Omkaram, Om. That is happening during inspiration. Here, inspiration means not by drawing air. There is a method of doing pranayama in which the upward Movement is called inspiration.
Krishna never says they say pranava.
Pranava. Pranava, same.
Yeah, that's why you did the name pranava.
Yes. Pranava, Om, everything.
Yeah.
Everything is, but their words are good.
Yeah.
But practical thing is reverse.
Yeah.
What they are doing is reverse. Anybody, because you are a doctor, you have to admit, I am scientifically deriving. Is it not? When you practically saw this, when you are uttering, you are losing heat or not?
Spanam and mani, that is better.
Yes. How pranam, whatever you say, already your expression is more predominant than inspiration. Without relieving the obstruction or defect by churning, you cannot take it upwards more. So to increase the inspiratory phase, while increasing the inspiratory phase itself, you are getting churning, you are getting sound. That sound which you are getting during this pranayama is called pranavam or omkaram. Without doing pranayama, simply you are simply losing it. Chanting, whatever you call, whatever you do. It may be surprising to you, but you have to admit because you are a doctor. I am explaining scientifically. You think twice. You think twice whether I am telling correctly or not. See, unlike others, I don't agree. I don't allow because I am also a doctor. I am telling in your line. Is it not? If you ask questions in medical also, I will explain.
So I think one last question is that, okay, you explained this, but otherwise,
are you convinced to some extent or not? Initially, you cannot convince because it will be surprising to you. Till now, what are you are thinking is just reverse to the fact.
No,
right.
I just do what, like you follow some people or some.
First of all, we are assuming that they are great people.
Yeah,
the
and
great,
then they know what they are saying.
But the thing is, when they are explaining, they should explain in a scientific way. Don't believe blindly. You are here, you are a scientific person. How do you believe blindly? Question.
No, this is just, so what you said is that there is suffering because of the Purva Janma or Purva.
Suffering mentally due to because the mind and life force have come down.
Like there is difference. Somebody loses their mom and dad when they are little kids or something happens. So that is also suffering from them.
No, suffering means, do you suffer during sleep or what? No, when you come out only suffer. When you come out and hear the news, then only you will suffer. So suffering when you come out only. When you come out only. Coming by what? By your respirations. You know, there are 3 states of our consciousness initially. Wakeful state, dreamful state, and sleep, deep sleep state. Deep sleep state. During wakeful state, our respirations are like this. When you are going to dream, it is still going lower. And during deep sleep, it is traveling and going up and down in the lower portion of the spinal cord. Our medical people also don't know what is the root cause for the change of this consciousness. The change of consciousness is due to change in the level of movement of the respirations inside the spinal cord. You know? So when you come out only, you will see the suffering. When you don't come outside, you won't see. So suffering is due to what? By hearing the news or by coming out?
Not coming out, but I'm just saying, why are they suffering? They are suffering because of
No, suffering. Basically, you are suffering. Basically, you are suffering by coming out. You already concluded that they are suffering. but your mind has gone there. Without your mind going there, can you suffer? So suffering is due to what then?
Mind.
Mind only. So mind is coming out. Try to know the root cause of it. We are presuming all these things. We have already framed. This is suffering, this is suffering. The root cause for framing is coming out with the mind only. Right? Any more questions? Your father.
Linked with thoughts.
Huh?
Thoughts come from mind.
Ah,
It is linked with thought.
yes.
And thoughts come from mind.
Thoughts come from, thoughts are linked with your respirations. So try to control the respiration and then control your thoughts.
Yeah. He's going to pick up.
Right. Then we'll have another session.
Yes.
For the time being, we'll close. Close chesi malli. Challi.
In the meantime, it's close to the
Napishoవచ్చు. మరి అక్కడ